They get the day-to-day work done. They focus on serving others. They have the ability to create a sense of belonging. They pay attention to detail, and they can quietly build community consistently. Hey everyone, it's Amy Lynn Durham, and you're listening to Create Magic at Work. Create Magic at Work is on a mission to equip senior leaders with tools they need to be a true quantum leader and actually understand what that means. Improve employee engagement, retain top talent, and transform your workplace culture to have less drama and stress. So let's start making magic. I just want to make sure everyone's taken care of. If we don't handle the little things, the big things fall apart. People need to feel safe to do their best work. I don't mind doing the extra work if it helps the overall team. We've always been like family here, and that matters to me. Hey, it's Amy. Welcome back to Create Magic at Work. We are well into the Archetypes of Change summer series, where I'm walking you through a framework we use in our executive coaching engagements here at Create Magic at Work that help leaders and teams understand their relationship to change. If you're just tuning in or need a quick refresher, this is the Archetypes of Change framework. And there are 5 ways people tend to orient themselves to change. The edge walkers is one of the archetypes, the visionary bridge builders who live on the frontier of what's possible, the flame keepers, the mission protectors who hold tight to the organization's core purpose and values, the placeholders, the stabilizers who ground us in tradition and routine, providing predictability and rhythm, the guardians, they're the protectors who see potential risks in the future and keep the organization safe, and the Hearthtenders. Those are the steady souls who ensure the day-to-day work gets done while cultivating a deep sense of belonging with the team in the workplace. If you go back to prior episodes in the past a couple of weeks this summer, we've covered almost every archetype up to the Hearthtender and the Edgewalker. We've talked about the placeholder, we've talked about the guardian and the flame keeper. And there was also a really great kickoff episode that dove deep into the archetypes of change. So if you missed those, go back and take a listen. I really think that these archetypes of change are a game changer in the workplace because they help you understand that there's different ways that people respond to change. And once we understand that people relate to change differently, and maybe we can put some language to that, we can approach each other from a place of compassion and understanding rather than irritation. And it really helps move things along quite seamlessly once we understand how everyone's sort of navigating change in the workplace as well as their relationship to time. So today we meet the steady heart of the organization, the Hearthtender. And each week I'm sharing a personal, the names are changed for confidentiality, but each week I'm sharing a story about a leader in the workplace that represents one of these archetypes. As I share these stories, and as you go back and listen as well, try to think of someone that you work with, or even yourself, that maybe you're identifying as a placeholder, a guardian, or a Hearthtender, or a flame keeper, or an edgewalker. We'll be talking about edgewalkers next week. And think of that person, hopefully in a new way, where you understand what the relationship to change is when change occurs. I know that once I learned this framework, it was a big turning point for me because I come back scoring very high as an edgewalker. And so I tended to see people that were seemingly naysayers to visions that I had as in my way, rather than now I look at them in a whole different way as they're coming from a good place. They're maybe seeing some roadblocks that I could avoid, and there's a space for everyone's voice. So anyways, back to the Hearthtenders today. Today I'm going to tell you a story about Marcus. Marcus is a Hearthtender. He's not flashy. He's not angling for promotions. He's not chasing recognition. I think we've all worked with a Marcus before, or maybe we are today, or maybe you'll identify with Marcus. If you ask anyone who keeps things going, who keeps the wheels turning at the company, at Marcus's mid-sized tech company, they would all say it's him. He remembered everybody's birthday. He would organize quarterly team lunches. He was the one who quietly stayed late, making sure client files were perfect for the next day's pitch. When the company Marcus worked for went through a big merger, things got rocky fast. There was new leadership. They implemented new systems. They implemented new ways of doing pretty much just about everything. And tensions were running really high because when that kind of change is rolled out, whether through acquisition or a big merger, people really start to get their foundation feels shaken and people start to feel disconnected and that fear starts coming up. Marcus in this situation saw his teammates pulling back, heads down, disengaged, uncertain of what this change was going to bring. But for Marcus, instead of getting caught up in anxiety, he stepped up in the only way a Hearthtender can. He started organizing small check-ins. He made sure no birthdays got forgotten. He kept the Friday potluck tradition alive. I'm laughing not in a sarcastic way, but I keep thinking of people that I've worked with in the past that like really did these types of things because this wasn't me, but I really appreciated the Hearthtender quality and archetype of these people. So yeah, he would keep these traditions alive even as departments shifted and as faces changed. One time in a team meeting while the executives were debating metrics, Marcus quietly asked, "Can we talk about how everyone's actually doing? People seem unsure, they feel unstable, or they feel like they're anxious." It was a subtle but a powerful statement and question that he made because while everyone else was focused on restructuring, charts, financial forecasts, numbers, Marcus was protecting the actual spirit of the team. And so months later, when everything was settling down from the merger, HR noted that Marcus's team had the lowest turnover and the highest engagement scores during the transition. And that is a powerful representation of what the Hearthtender archetype brings. Hearthtenders are the steady pulse inside your organization. They get the day-to-day work done. They focus on serving others. They have the ability to create a sense of belonging. They pay attention to detail, and they can quietly build community consistently. Their time orientation, because with the archetypes of change, this is all about also a person's orientation to time. Their time orientation is the present. They want today to go smoothly. They care about how people feel now. They're often the person that kind of holds the team together. They definitely can master operational excellence, and they're highly loyal to leaders who support them. And they have a unique ability to keep relationships really strong and be deeply invested in those relationships. So during times of change, a Hearthtender's first reaction might be, how is this going to affect my work and my team's workload? And will this make our jobs harder? And that's interesting to me because I've thought that many times when change was rolled out. How is this going to affect my team's workload? Is this going to make our job harder or easier? We all have all of these archetypes within us. It's just which ones present the strongest. this question that comes up from the Hearthtender. How is this going to affect my work and my team's workload? Will this make our jobs harder? I can see the Hearthtender within myself as well. Hearthtenders worry less about strategy and more about people. And I think that's what really sums it up. Hey everyone, Amy here. Let's talk about work realities for a second. Whether you're dealing with a tough boss, struggling with team miscommunication, feeling stuck in decision making, let's be real, work drama exists and it's exhausting, but it doesn't have to be this way. At Create Magic at Work, we help leaders like you cut through the chaos, build next level communication skills, and make better, faster decisions without the stress spiral. Whether you're leading a team or just trying to keep your sanity at work, we've got your back. We coach executives and teams like yours to develop interpersonal savvy, drive engagement, and bring your vision and purpose to life so work actually feels energizing again. Imagine that. More engagement, more productivity, less drama. Our executive coaching team has been in your shoes. We've led teams, navigated workplace challenges, and know what it takes to help you succeed and achieve your goals. Real experience, real talk, and real results. If you're thinking, yes, Amy, we need this at my work, then let's talk. Click the link in the show notes and let us help you and your teams become a high-performing, engaged, and productive force of clarity and calm. I'll see you in the Zoom room. Let's throw the stress and drama out the window. Click on the link in the show notes. But as with every archetype, there's a shadow side. So there's like the amazing qualities that like bring about positive things, but then there's also potential downsides of an archetype. There's blind spots or maybe unintended consequences if someone's strength in one of these areas is overused or if you're using it unconsciously. So for the Hearthtender, the shadow can look like getting buried in tasks and losing sight of the big picture, or avoiding change out of fear of inefficiency. Another shadow side of a Hearthtender could be becoming frustrated when leadership ignores their frontline perspective. Another blind spot could be withdrawing or disengaging when they feel unappreciated. Another unconscious shadow could be the Hearthtender could see work primarily as their social world. And then another one could be resisting skill growth because they feel overloaded. So if these blind spots or unconscious shadows are left unaddressed, this is where a Hearthtender can slip into burnout. And they do it quietly. This is where the disengaged workforce comes in. They start doing just enough to get by, but there's no spark there. So in our executive coaching work at Create Magic at Work, Hearthtenders are often the unsung heroes who start blossoming when they feel seen. So we typically deploy the Archetypes of Change assessment inside companies, and leaders are often wowed, surprised when they see how much Hearthtender energy the company is carrying. So through coaching, we help Hearthtenders reconnect to their sense of service without self-sacrifice. And we help balance efficiency with effectiveness. We help Hearthtenders speak up about what systems are breaking. We help them with their ability to contribute to change design rather than resist it. And we also help elevate their voice and their influence as culture stewards. So one of the most beautiful shifts we see is when Hearthtenders realize they can have a voice in shaping change and not just responding to it. So I want you to think about this. Who is your Marcus? Who makes your team still feel like a team when everything else feels chaotic or when change hits? Who's the one that notices when birthdays or milestones are getting skipped, or just that person that creates that human connection really is what this is, right? The person that's asking how people are actually doing, the person who keeps things running, even when leadership is distraction. Whoever that is that comes to mind, and if it's you, there's your Hearthtender. And if you're leading Hearthtenders, there's a few things I want you to remember. Invite them into conversations early, especially into change conversations early. They often will have a sense and may know where implementation will succeed or fail. Try to reframe your view of the Hearthtender. Recognize their relationship work as real work. They're the relationship workers. Give them visibility, not just more tasks. If you're listening to this and you're like, whoa, I think I'm a Hearthtender. I'm always organizing the company potluck and bringing everyone together, as an example, or some sort of virtual meetup if you're a team that works virtually. And if you're hearing yourself in this episode, your care is what holds companies together. Your attention to the present helps people stay grounded. Like, what an innate gift to be focused in the present moment and to strengthen that attention to the present. And your commitment to people makes work sustainable. Don't carry the emotional labor alone. Let your leaders know where processes are breaking. Advocate for your own development because you deserve to grow too. At Create Magic at Work, when we work with Hearthtenders in executive coaching, it's often about helping them move from silent service to the empowered voice, to see how their relational gifts are key to organizational resilience and balance doing for people with guiding alongside people. This is why the Archetypes of Change framework matters in real workplaces. Too often, change management focuses only on strategy, logic, and plans. But change actually moves at the speed of relationship. And when we use this model in executive coaching engagements, we help teams map where each person instinctively sits in the change process, spot where conflict is really coming from, and design change with every archetype in mind. Build trust that outlasts transitions. Because if you want lasting change, all of these archetypes matter. The vision of the edgewalker, the values of the flamekeeper, the stability of the placeholder, the caution of the guardian, and the care of the Hearthtender. And that's how organizations evolve without losing their soul and without discarding people because they were perceived as not being able to adapt to change. So this week, think about who your Hearthtenders are. Ask yourself who's keeping the relational glue intact, who notices when others seem off, who's quietly carrying extra weight so others don't have to, and go thank them and ask them, how could we make your work more sustainable? What's one thing that would help you feel more supported? And get into a conversation with them about a change that might be coming that worries them. Say, what's one change coming that worries you? And their answers actually might change how you lead. Next week, we meet the Edgewalker, the final archetype that I'm covering in this summer solo series. The Edgewalker is the visionary bridge builder who sees what others can't. And after that, I'll be wrapping this entire Archetypes of Change summer series with a final reflection episode where I'll bring everything together. And then we'll get back to some guest interviews as well here on Create Magic at Work. I really hope you're enjoying this summer solo series. It's a little different than what I've done before. And I just felt really called to have these quick bite-sized episodes that sort of expose behind the scenes of what we do here at Create Magic at Work as an executive coaching firm. And more importantly, I really hope it opens us up to lead with wisdom and compassion when it comes to change, and that we're not discarding people because they're not reacting in the way we think they should to change, but that we are approaching our teams, and ourselves with a deeper understanding of our relationship to change and with some compassion. So until then, honor your Hearthtenders and get ready to walk the edge next week. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming back every week to listen to a new episode of Create Magic at Work and really helping to support and advocate for healthy leaders, workplaces, and lives for all of us. If you want any information on how to connect with me, click on the link in the show notes. You'll get access to all of the social media links for Create Magic at Work. Stay following along for more amazing episodes where we help you improve productivity and profitability in the workplace and decrease stress. Sending magic to everyone, and see you next time.